Howdy, I got to play through Fallen City Brawl. This is a retro style inspired beat 'em up game. We've been seeing these a lot recently in the last few years, and at least for me, I always have a fun time playing them. Even with a lot of inspirations, a lot of these games have references to other games of its type or gaming in general, and this one is no exception to that as well. You play up to 4 different characters, and you do the classic beat 'em up fighting through the game. Now, this one was a little bit different in terms of if you play through a character, you do get multiple lives. It's a good amount too. I think it gives you like 5 or 6. I played the normal difficulty. It was like normal and hard. So I started with one character who's this like bigger guy that has like a chain they would use to beat up people with. You can grab objects and throw objects. And then as I played through and died, I'd get brought back to life. Now, some of these games, when you die as a character and you have an extra life, you get to choose one of the other characters to play and switch between. But this didn't have that option. It was only until I fully ran out of all the extra lives I had to where I would have to end the game there, but I could restart where I left off as a new character. And that was a nice little feature. That even with the lives running out, I didn't have to start the game all the way from the beginning. It would just kick me to the menu, and then I would just have to continue where I left off, and I could then choose a different character to play. So then the second character I played was this guy who was more of a boxing type. So I played through the game about 40 minutes or so. It was a quick experience to get through overall, even with dying as many times as I did and switching characters. 7 levels total. The thing about this game though was there was a story to it, but it didn't feel like there was much there. Like even when I first started the game, it had a cutscene kind of explaining what the story was, but it felt like the dialogue was going by way too fast for me to even read and comprehend what was happening. And then when you play through the game, you're just going from one level to the next. There's no cutscene to kind of move the story along. I didn't really know who I was fighting and why, and I didn't even know until the game finished that one of the characters had a sister. I thought it was just this random woman that was there kind of towards the end. Each level, you fight through enemies, then there's a boss, and then level ends. Pretty standard there. Like, even with, like, the final boss of the game, I just thought it was, like, another random boss. So, I played through this whole game not really knowing what was going on, like, why I was fighting these people and who they were. Had no clue. But what the game did do was vary up the enemies enough. So as you went through each level, they would introduce a new kind of enemy and sometimes bring an older enemy back. So I appreciated that for such a smaller, shorter game, there was such a variety of enemies there. And I like that the environments were all kind of drastically different from each other. You have one that's in a rain, the one that's like inside a building. My least favorite one was this area that was like outside a warehouse, and it had like tall grass in it. But I felt like with the way the game looked and the tall grass, it was kind of hard to see on the eyes a little bit, and it was a little bit too grainy. But that was just for me, at least specifically. But the game looked pretty good. The characters looked a little bit bigger overall. Like it felt like the game was kind of zoomed in just a little bit. And it even had the option when you were doing special combo attacks or fighting a boss that the camera would zoom in even further than that. And I eventually took that off. I took off some of the screen shaking as well. Just kind of play it all the way through. And what did make it a little bit different as well is that every character also had a weapon they can use for distance or guns. So besides the weapons they were carrying with and using their fists, you had a button dedicated to shooting enemies. Like you had an assault rifle. The big character that I played, he actually had grenades that I could like kind of launch, and then they would explode on enemies and blow them up. So as you play through the game, you would again collect ammunition, but you also could collect crystals, and these crystals would build up into powerful attacks. And there would be basically 3 different levels, and you can choose to do a level 1, which would kind of help knock enemy down, or level 2, which may get you an assist, or level 3, which is the ultimate attack. So it was up to you to decide if you wanted to get more crystals or use them after a certain point and get them out of the way. So the thing is when you die, even if you just get brought back with an extra life that you already had, you lose all those crystals. So there was a couple times where I had to build up all the way and I was ready to do the power attack, but then I died and had to be brought back to life and I lost all the crystals. So that was an interesting concept in terms of strategy there. So it seemed like the game wanted you to use those crystals sooner rather than later, because if you didn't, you could have lost all those crystals and lose that special ability attack. So that was something to keep in mind. It's just overall, this game was a quick playthrough, but for how such a small experience it was, I felt like there was a lot to it. Could have had a better storytelling method to it as well. Again, the dialogue kind of went by really fast. I didn't know what was happening. There was no story cutscenes in between the missions, so I didn't know what was going on. But I still had fun playing the game. You can play it with at least 2 characters also. From what I saw, anybody could kind of hop in at any point. So I would recommend this game if you like beat 'em ups. It's short, quick, to the point. You can do it with a friend. And it's a fun time. Even if the story is kind of lacking in that department, you'll have that sense of old school retro style feel and vibes to it, even with the look. And it's just something that's a little bit different of its type in terms of what it offers for gameplay styles.